Copywriting your music, what does it mean? How do you do it? And what types of control does it give you? Let's get to work.
Jimmy, make music.
Today we're talking about music copyright. Now, copyright is a fundamental aspect of the music industry, and a lot of things are based on it. Almost every contract that you sign has to do with some form of copyright. There are 6 basic principles of copyright, and we're going to go over them today. So I want to break down what copyrights are, how they're created, and how you enforce them. Now, keep in mind, I'm not a lawyer, so take this with a grain of salt, and any legal advice that you seek, make sure you talk to a lawyer first. That being said, copyright is a term that includes 6 different rights that you get as a creator. These rights are given to you just by creating a work in a tangible form. Just by writing words down on a piece of paper, you are now the creator and copyright owner of those words and can register for a legit copyright. For the sake of this video, we're talking about music, and we're talking about copyrights, not patents or trademarks, but those are forms of intellectual property too. One of the rights you get just by creating a tangible work is the right of distribution. It's your right and your right alone to give out this work or make a copy of this work to anyone that you want. In the music industry, that focuses on how you deliver your music to your customer, whether it's going to be on a CD or a tape cassette or even an MP3. So you, as the copyright owner, have the right to give that out to whoever you want. So the second right is the right of reproduction. This means you have the right to make copies of that work. And if someone else makes copies, that's illegal and you have grounds to sue them for illegally reproducing your work. The third type of right you get with copyright is the right of performance. Only you get to perform your music. Not only do you get to perform it literally, but if your music is played publicly anywhere, that counts as a public performance. So you have the right to control who is able to do that, who's able to play your music where. The fourth right you get is the right of digital transmission. Things like radio or your music being played on videos and streaming services, you have the right to control who does that. The fifth right you get, and we'll go into this more in depth later on in the video, is the right of public display. This usually takes place when your lyrics are displayed somewhere or published by someone else. Just think of Genius.com. They have to pay a fee to the copyright owner to be able to publish those lyrics on their website. So the sixth and last right is the right to create derivative works. So derivative works is a pretty broad term, and it can range from anything from rearranging the music to changing the lyrics a little bit. Or even if someone wants to use your music and adapt it to, say, like a musical, they need your permission to do that. They can't just outright do it. There are some exceptions, like the rule for parody, and people can parody your music without your permission, but for the most part, you are protected. Now, all 6 of these rights help you control your music. You control whether you want to sell it, you control the price of it, you control whether you want to put it on a streaming platform, everything. So keep in mind when you're signing contracts, whether they're record deals, publishing deals, you are negotiating against a portion of those rights. You're essentially licensing those rights to a third party in exchange for compensation. So even with performing rights organizations or MLC, Harry Fox, Songtrust, you're giving them rights to act on your behalf for collecting royalties. Maybe you give them a flat fee or a percentage or even an ownership stake. So understanding copyrights is important to navigate in the music industry. So how and why should you get the Copyright Office involved if you already own the copyright as soon as you make a tangible form? Well, while your copyright is assigned to you automatically just by creating a work, to enforce those rights in a court of law, you need to register the work with the U.S. Copyright Office, at least in the United States. So filling out the appropriate paperwork for your copyright is the easiest way to make sure that the whole world is on the same page about who owns what. And that way you'll have legal grounds to move on someone infringing on your rights. So there are fees involved depending on what you're trying to copyright to, and they can range anywhere from $65 to $125. I mean, are you copyrighting a single, an album, a whole catalog? And to add to that, there are 2 types of music industry copyrights. There's a sound recording copyright and a musical works copyright. A sound recording copyright is one that covers something that's literally audible, like the sound, the song put together. The musical works copyright covers the literal written pieces like sheet music or tablature or the written word, the lyrics. So keep that in mind. You might want to get 2 copyrights for the same project, one for the audio and one for the literal written lyrics. So lastly, if someone is violating your copyright, you want to hire an attorney. They'll most likely send a cease and desist letter to the violator, and that would be the end of it. If the violator doesn't stop, then you might wind up in court, but that's rare, as it can get expensive for everybody involved. But at least you have actions to take. But they start with registering your music with the Copyright Office. So to round this up, yes, you do own the copyright as soon as you export that file out of your DAW. but you're the only one that knows it. You need to let the world know it's yours by making a public record of that copyright. Otherwise, you're going to have a tough time in court proving that it's yours. A timestamp on a file in the metadata or the upload date on a YouTube video isn't going to cut it in court. So keep all of those things in mind if you want total control over your music projects. I hope this video was helpful. If you like stuff like this, consider subscribing, like, and share this video, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Jimmy, make music.